In 2023, a single company quietly moved to swallow the back office of nearly every mortgage in America. The deal was almost $11.9 billion. It would have given them software running 40% of new home loans on one side and over 60% of loan servicing on the other, the entire pipe, the entire pump. And almost nobody outside Wall Street had even heard of them. This is the story of Intercontinental Exchange, ICE, and how a $1,000 shell company grew into the quietest empire in finance until a regulator finally looked up. It started with a check for $1,000. In 1997, a man named Jeff Sprecher bought a struggling internet-based energy trading platform called Continental Power Exchange from Warren Buffett's Mid-American Energy. $1,000. He drove a used car. He took out the office trash himself. That tiny shell, formally founded as Intercontinental Exchange in May of 2000, is the seed of everything that came next. Here is the quiet monopoly thesis stated plainly. The most durable businesses on earth are not the ones you see advertised on a billboard. They are toll booths. You don't notice them because you don't have a choice. Every car has to pass through, every month, forever. ICE never built a consumer brand. It bought the booths, one at a time, for 20 years. And it taught a generation of operators a brutal truth. It is better to charge rent on the highway than to drive a flashy car on it. Booth 1, November 2013. ICE acquired NYSE Euronext in a cash and stock deal valued at roughly $11 billion at close. A teenage company from Atlanta walked into the corner of Wall and Broad, rang the bell, and inherited 16 global exchanges and 5 clearinghouses. Every IPO listed on the New York Stock Exchange now pays a fee to a company most Americans have never heard of. Booth 2, December 2015. $5.2 billion for Interactive Data Corporation, bought from Silver Lake and Warburg Pincus. The name is boring on purpose. The deal vaulted ICE into third place globally as a financial market data provider, behind only Bloomberg and Thomson Reuters. ICE was no longer an exchange. It was now critical infrastructure for the entire global bond market. Think about what that means. ICE's fixed income indices today serve as benchmarks for approximately $2 trillion in assets under management globally. Over $150 billion in exchange-traded products track ICE indices directly. Every bond desk that quotes an ICE price pays a license. Every passive fund that hugs an ICE benchmark pays. That is not a business. That is a tax with a logo on it. Booth 3, September 2020. $11 billion for Ellie Mae, makers of a piece of software called Encompass. Encompass is the loan origination system running roughly 40% of all U.S. residential mortgage originations. 40%. When you sit at a closing table in Phoenix, Atlanta, or Cleveland, there is nearly a 1 in 2 chance that the file behind the loan officer's screen is being processed inside Intercontinental Exchange's software. The general public has no idea this company exists. And watch what happens when you stack 3 compounding toll booths on top of each other. Net revenues climbed from $5.8 billion in fiscal 2019 to $6.6 in 2020 to $7.1 to $7.3 to $8 billion, and finally to $9.3 billion in fiscal 2024. 19 consecutive years of record revenues. There is not a single down year in this chart. This is what infrastructure compounding looks like in the wild. Then ICE got greedy. In 2022, they announced the move that would finally put them on every regulator's radar. Originally a $13 billion offer for Black Knight. Black Knight owned the other half of the mortgage stack. Its MSP servicing platform held over 62% market share among U.S. first lien mortgage servicers. Origination plus servicing, the entire mortgage pipe in one company. The deal eventually closed in September 2023 at $11.9 billion, but only after a fight. This is where someone finally noticed. And contrary to most retellings of this story, it wasn't the Department of Justice. It was the Federal Trade Commission. In March of 2023, the FTC filed suit to block the merger. ICE settled in August by divesting Black Knight's Empower loan origination system and the Optimal Blue pricing engine to Constellation Software. The deal closed, but ICE did not get the full prize. 20 years of quiet shopping, and a regulator finally pulled a brick out of the wall. Even with that one brick missing, this is what the 3 booths produced in fiscal 2024. $5 billion from exchanges, $2.3 billion from fixed income and data services, $2 billion from mortgage technology, 3 separate, slow, boring, mission-critical pipes, and each one extremely hard to leave once you are on it. Lenders cannot change loan origination systems mid-pipeline. Servicers cannot migrate millions of loans off MSP overnight. Bond desks cannot stop quoting ICE prices. And here is what those pipes drop to the bottom line. Adjusted operating income of $5.5 billion across the whole company at a 59% adjusted operating margin. The exchanges segment alone runs at a 75% adjusted operating margin. 75. That is not a software company margin. That is not a bank margin. That is what a real toll booth looks like on a spreadsheet. And it is only that fat because nobody can route around the toll. So here is the takeaway, and the quiet monopoly thesis in one line. The companies that compound forever are not the ones racing to launch the next consumer app or the next AI chatbot. They are the ones quietly buying the rails that everyone else is forced to ride on. ICE almost bought the entire U.S. mortgage pipe before a regulator looked up from a screen. The only reason they got stopped is that, after 20 years and 3 toll booths, somebody finally noticed. The deeper lesson is uncomfortable. You can build a continent-spanning monopoly in plain sight, as long as it is boring enough that nobody writes a headline about you. The best businesses don't shout, they charge rent. And if you want to keep dismantling quiet monopolies like this one, before the next regulator does, or before they don't, subscribe.